Okay, for this week's edition of The Glass Eye, we have the Clearfield Wrestling preview for 2010-11. We're here with Head Coach Jeff Aveni. Thanks for sitting down with us, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, let's start by taking a look back at last year. Pretty successful year for you. I believe the team was 15-2 and quite a few successful wrestlers. Give us your thoughts on last year before we go into this year.
Well, we had a strong season. We went undefeated during our regular season until the last dual meet and lost a heartbreaker to Ridgeway to come down in the last match. We wrestled a lot of tough matches in that time. We won another District 9 dual meet championship, an individual championship. We really had a good season, and we bring a lot of those guys back this year. So that was a real positive for the last year to have the accomplishments that we had and to have so many guys back that. We lost some good leadership, but we really should have a lot of leadership back.
That's why you lead into the next question I had. You do lose a couple of really good wrestlers, and those guys will be missed. But it's an interesting team this year because it's got, 7 seniors starting, but then a lot of real youth too. There's not a whole lot in between. It's either real young kids or really, really experienced kids. And talk a little bit about that.
Well, our junior class is small, and we'll see a couple of those guys, I think, in the lineup this year. But a lot of wrestlers out of the senior class, a lot of wrestlers out of the sophomore class, maybe a freshman or two will get in there, and I think we'll see 3 or 4 juniors. But this is going to be a senior-dominated team, and with a team like that, you expect experience, leadership, and toughness, and this has the potential to be a very good team.
Well, let's talk about the guys coming back. Who do you think the leaders really are? I mean, the names that stick out to me: Cliff Hill, Derek Danver. Who do you look to be maybe the captains of the team?
But you can look at Derek Danver, he's been a leader for the past couple of years, and Cliff Hill has really taken on a bigger role. And Shane Peters, one of the hardest working kids in our room for the last 3 years, and we expect to see the same thing out of him. And Christian Stone and Nolan Barger are stepping up, and we're hoping to see Shane Harper and Andrew Hill step into more of a leadership role. So, I'd look to have a lot of leaders on this team. And
let's of the returning wrestlers you have, who do you look to be? And I know it's early, but who looks to be the most improved to you?
Jordan Lancaster. I haven't seen him a lot. He's been in. His attitude's better. His technique looks good. I really expect him to be the guy that opens eyes this year because he was a whipping boy a lot of last year, and I don't think that's going to be what you see this year. I think he's a better athlete than that. I think he's a tougher kid than that, and I really look for Jordan to be a kid that steps up and wins a good portion of matches this year. So and a lot of these, from year to year, you expect guys to improve, and we've been waiting for Andrew Hill and Shane Harper to break out of their shell for years. They're seniors. It's do or die time. And one of the things we've seen with Shane Harper is he really had a breakout season in baseball last year. When he got on the football field at the end of the season this year, he had a breakout year in football. And I really expect that to carry over into his wrestling because I believe that wrestling is his best sport.
How about some of the new names in the lineup that maybe fans aren't familiar with yet? Who do you look to kind of be the young surprise of the team, or maybe more than one?
Dylan Graham's definitely going to have an impact. He's a tough kid. I know he lettered on the football team this year, and he's been wrestling for a long time. He's a guy that's right there with Christian Stone and Nolan Barger, and that's his practice. That's who he's worked out with his whole life, and he can wrestle with those guys. And I expect Dylan to really have a huge impact on our team. We have a lot of stuff that's still going to sort itself out as the season goes on through the middle. But I expect Max Von Gunden and Troy Danver and Cody Lansbury to make each other better. And those guys are going to be fighting for spots as the season goes on. And I think the guys that get in the lineup they're going to be able to perform because they're going to be pushed for a position. Another young guy, Jake Farachek's probably going to see a lot of mat time between 71 and 89, and he can really have an impact also. He's very talented. He's a little raw right now, but he has a lot of athletic ability and he loves to wrestle, so I think we'll really be able to see something come out of him.
Talk a little bit about expectations. Pretty tough schedule as always. Some tough tournaments, some tough dual meets, especially early on. What are your expectations for this team?
Well, I mean, this team has the ability to beat anybody on their schedule, and that comes down to, do we stay healthy? Do we work hard? Do we stay focused? And do we put out our best effort every time we step on the mat? And right now we're banged up, and we had a lot of guys miss the first couple of weeks through their football season, and they're coming in banged up a little bit, and we may be traveling the top hat without as many as 2 potential starters. So that's tough off the bat. Hopefully they'll be back very soon, but I don't know if it's worth putting them through the grind of a 2-day tournament when they're not healthy. And we open up Du Bois and Bald Eagle area. I mean, it doesn't get any tougher than that for the first week of the season. And the lightweights, really, those lightweights, they need to be able to carry the weight for us, and we should be solid enough. And these guys are experienced. Coming in late, it was really, if I look at it for football players, they were a week later than they needed to be. As far as to have them ready. And we've always, given them time off, let them rest. Their bodies are beat up and stuff like that. But this year we weren't available to do that, so it made it a little harder. And some of them are pretty fresh, so that's good. But
you mentioned the injuries real quick. I noticed that Cliff Hill wasn't in the room. What's the story with Cliff? Is he going to miss significant time?
I don't think he'll miss significant time, but we don't have a final. I have to meet with the training staff, see where he's at, what he can do. Cliff's a tough kid, and like I said, I think at this point it's just not making him. It's not worth putting him through the grind of top hat and not having him for next week. That if we had a match tonight, Cliff would probably say I can go. But to put him through the grind of a weekend tournament, I don't know if it's worth it. It's a long season, and really matters what happens in March.
And the last point, you just mentioned March. In a perfect world, how many wrestlers do you think you can take to Hershey out of this bunch?
I mean, I would think realistically going in, you're going to have a minimum of 5 guys that have a real good shot at being there. And, that's not counting what can emerge.
Sure, I understand.
You always have those emergers, those kids that step up. Going into last season, did we really consider Christian Stone and Nolan Barger as 2 of those kids? Man, we thought they could be in the hunt. And, you're going to have emergers, and I think we're going to have some kids that really rise to the occasion. And, I'd say going in, you got to have 5 kids. I think it's 5 kids that are ranked in state. So, those guys are guys we think we can get through the regional tournament. And I expect us to have a couple more kids really step up and have a shot.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Coach Jeff Aveni of Clearfield Bison Wrestling.
Thanks, Dave.